Greetings and welcome back to Shadow of the Colossus. And with the shattering of another huge idol, the 10th Colossus is slain. The 10th part of Dormin's soul is freed, encapsulated in wonder. But there are still 6 remaining before this task is complete. 6 more keys to Dormin's freedom, 6 more keys before Mono can be saved. And thus, Dormin speaks again. Now, interestingly, most of the little speeches by Dormin so far have contained not just a kind of a little kind of preview of the boss, but perhaps a hint towards its destruction. If you remember a few back, there was one that talked about the rage of a Colossus, and that was one that you had to run into a wall, I think. And then there was one where it talked about the gaze. That was the previous one, the snake, where it talked about its gaze is upon you, and that was the one we had to kind of shoot in the eye. So I'm just wondering what clues were there for this next Colossus, as we just have a look to see which way we're heading. Doesn't look like it's somewhere back towards this way, perhaps even behind the temple again. I'm just wondering what clues there were in that particular one. It talked about a lake, an altar overlooking a lake, and it talked about something about keeping the flames alive. So I'm going to take an educated guess here that something to do with flames is going to be the demise of this Colossus. Because those poems, if you go back and kind of and see what is written, and you can find them on various websites, they aren't just like, oh, here's a Colossus coming, it's got like 2 big horns and stuff. It tells you a kind of a little bit of a bit of information about them, but it's more like a cryptic crossword clue to an extent. It's not really telling you about them, it's telling you a hint or a clue how to get there, how to take them down. So I'm going to assume that there's going to be something to do with this next Colossus that's going to have something to do with the flames, which is of course possible because Dormin wants you to succeed. Dormin is trapped. Dormin is this, in theory, very powerful deity that once enjoyed being worshipped by the people that lived in this land, once enjoyed being master of this land, and is now trapped. He wants us to succeed, and yet something seems to prevent Dormin from just kind of saying, oh yeah, go to this Colossus and stab it through the ear with this Q-tip. He seems to almost be kind of trapped into what he can and what he cannot say, but somehow something kind of sneaks through, some sort of little hint or tidbit of information. Of course, if we get to this next Colossus and it has nothing to do with flames and nothing to do with lakes and altars, then completely ignore anything that I have said. But if the pattern remains, then I think that's going to be the case. And we have some lovely shadows cast on the ground by the pillars of this awesome bridge. The bridge, of course, being the one that we walked across right at the beginning of the game. The bridge is what connects the outside world, the only connection between the outside world and this forbidden land. Now, I've been doing some reading about Shadow of the Colossus, about some of the alternative Colossuses, the ones that were taken out, which I do want to talk to you about in a subsequent video. I've mentioned them in a previous video, but like I said, I want to go into more detail about them. But I was trying to find out where this information came from. How do we know that there were other Colossi that were never included? And the answer is because there was a Shadow of the Colossus official art book and guidebook. And again, thank you to teamico.wikia.com for this information. Looks like we've got some sort of opening we need to go into. It doesn't look like we need to go beyond this because the sword's kind of pointing down. There's a small pillar there, and it looks like some sort of zigzag there. I don't know if I can get down that ramp, but we'll have a little look. There was a Shadow of the Colossus official artwork and art book and guidebook that was it was a big walkthrough of the game, but it also had an interview with the team that was in it. and that could be the lake that was referred to in the clue. That could be the altar which overlooks the lake. The book had an interview with the team, which had a lot of kind of privileged information, and it also talked about lots of cool things such as alternative endings, the reasoning behind certain bits of the story, and all sorts of things. And the alternative endings I'm definitely going to be talking about in a future video. But the book also contained a discussion from the artwork and discussions from the makers. Whoops! I'm fine. About what the alternative Colossi would have been, and perhaps some of the ways that you might have had to defeat them. One of the little kind of tidbits of information here that I thought was especially interesting was the sounds that appear just after we complete each Colossus. Do you remember there's like there's been a sound of a girl's voice which has started to appear over the last few Colossus? Like we beat the Colossus, we get attacked by the shadows, we fall over, and then there's this little kind of like ooh sound. It's a female vocal sound, and it's been getting louder. I mean, it may have been there even right from the start. I mean, I might have just missed it, but now it's unmistakably there. It's unmissable, and that, according to this book by the game's designers, is supposed to be the voice of Mono, the girl that we are trying to save. It's her becoming more and more aware, more and more awake, her soul coming closer and closer and closer back to this world, as at the same time perhaps Wanda goes the other way. We've seen his kind of facial features changing drastically, but there's this hint there that his soul is being dragged one way as her soul is being brought back to the other, and they're kind of trying to show that in the sounds that we hear. It's one of those things that doesn't necessarily change the game in any way, but it's nice to kind of find out, what exactly were they thinking with that, and is it just a random sound effect, or is it a meaning? And that one definitely has a meaning. It's her. She's coming. She is trying to break back through, or being pulled back through, by the actions of Wanda. And it also means that as she's being pulled back through, she is to an extent here now. She is aware of what is going on, and when this whole thing finishes, as we'll discuss a bit later, she is not, as some have surmised, completely unaware of who Wanda is and what has taken place and what he has sacrificed to her. She is aware of it, according to the game's makers. But it appears that our conversation about the plotline will have to wait, because he is here. Wow, this is a very, very different type of Colossus to what we've had before. Firstly, it's a lot smaller. Whoa, and it's... Ow! Oh my god! That must be one of the shortest fights I've ever had. I'm still alive, aren't I? Yeah, God, I'm alive. I might have to replay that and watch that back. That was... Ouch. Okay, well, we've got a Colossus, a very different kind of Colossus. I wouldn't even call this a Colossus. I'm just going to call this kind of big and ugly. But this one's fast. I mean, if we're going to put most of the Colossi together to give them like common traits, we're going to say that they were all fairly slow. Maybe not the bird. Actually, no, the sand one's been quite fast as well. But there's something different about this one. I think because of its speed, it feels more agile than some of the others in that whack. Now, I need to be careful here that I don't get whacked off again. If you'll excuse the poor choice of words. I'm just trying to see if I can get an arrow in the eye or something, but there's no obvious kind of target there. I think the eyes there are just eyes rather than targets. Let's see. I can't see anything to kind of grab on this particular Colossus, but we do have these flames around, which is not unexpectedly, thanks to the clue. I don't think I can just run that and grab it. I mean, maybe there's something we can do, like kind of like run in circles or something. There's some way of making it dizzy. But let's see if we can make it to the flames. Ow! And luckily, I think he might have knocked me into a safe place there. I hope that he can't get in here. But wow, he must be hitting me with some force, because I'm properly staying down every time he whacks me there. Ow! What does he just reach out and flick me with his hand? Ouch! Right, let's get up here. Right, what can I do with this? Okay, he looks like he charged it, and something's fallen off. Can I grab it? Or stab it? Yes, I can. Ow! God, this thing, he's not giving me a second to stand up here. I'm glad he's not stomping me when I'm on the ground, otherwise this battle would have been over by now. And that stick, oh, get off me! That stick was on fire, but now it's not. I don't know if that means I need to use the stick, or whether I need to set the stick back on fire. Oh, I'm trying to do that kind of duck roll thing. Whoa, whoa! I shouldn't have said that thing about stamping, that was never going to end well. Oh dear, ow! Okay, dive, 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 dive. There we are. Well, I'm coming back up here, firstly to see if I can set light to the stick, and secondly, just for refuge. Okay, look, that's flaming. Now what then? Can I hit him with this? Ooh, he's backing away from me now. Ow! Okay, kind of backing away from me. Yeah, yeah? Yeah, you want a piece of this? Yeah, Shere Khan, Jungle Book, I've seen this, I know what it happens. Maybe I need to, like, tie it to its tail or something. Or better yet, I can just knock it off of here. Brilliant! Victoire, TheAdipose! It seems to have exposed some sort of fur, but is that dead? Have I won? Is it over? Kind of felt fairly final, that. We had a little cutscene, it fell off. But we've got no shadows hitting me, so I'm going to guess that that means it's still alive. Feels like one of those scenes in the, you know, like Batman or something like that. You know, when you think the villain's dead just for a second, and all of a sudden he jumps out of the shower, or you know those horror films where you think it's all over just for a second. Where is he? With the little tweeting bird in the background, just making everything feel okay. Well, we've got that exposed skin now, so let's... Oh, there we go. There's the sigil. And it's not dead. And I am being flown off. Let's just cling on for now. If I can get a chance to stab it, I will. I don't know if maybe we need to take it back upstairs or something and run it back into the... Whoa, almost came off. Run it back into the into those flame pots again, maybe daze it a little bit, but let's see. Well, it's being still just for an occasion. There we go. Although if I'm going to get it with tiny little stabs like that, then this is going to take a while. Let's try again. That one was bigger. Come on, boy. That was almost full power. 2/3 of his health gone. I think this one is mine. I think kind of for once, with the beating he gave me, I think this one is deserved. Now stay down. Although he did crush me as he fell over, so maybe I should leave my arrogance at the door. And once again, the shadow hits me hard. And if we just listen for that sound again, which I assume is coming, that was the breath of Mono. There she is. She speaks. I do hope you have enjoyed this video and fighting this little Colossus with me quicker than usual. If you have, please give the video a like, and if you would like to see more, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Take care, and I will see you very soon for Colossus number 12.